Welcome back
to more content. I'm your host, Lili.
and I'm Cody.
Are you?
You tell me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh.
I think so. Therefore, I am.
Okay, this is getting off the rails already.
It's dark. What do you want?
Well, great. It will lead right into our first topic.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
That people do.
It's a good segue.
That people do not know that when
I didn't even really know.
I've told you many times.
No. You had your preconceptions about me, but
I told you many times. Anyway,
preconceivements.
when I first met Cody, I hated him.
You hated how attracted to me you were.
No.
Yep.
No.
That's what you tell yourself, but we all know the truth.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a hot man.
Yep.
You're not my type.
Tall drink of water.
You're not my type.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my type.
Mysterious.
Dark. Oh. No, I saw you and I thought, hockey bro, because you were growing your hair. And it wasn't like super long at the time. It was like
medium-ish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just was like, look at this dumb jock, idiot.
Guilty.
Still feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm still that person. I'm just evolved. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Your type annoyed me. And that's why you weren't my type. Like, you were just like, I'm a single player, blah, 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 okay. Jock.
Allegedly.
Cocky.
Allegedly.
All this stuff.
I wasn't cocky. Maybe I was, again, maybe you perceived me to be that way, but I was, I've had this issue throughout my life, and there was definitely points in my life where, sure, I guess you could say it was cockiness. I mean, I still always viewed it as just like a very deep sense of confidence in myself.
Okay.
So when I was at my most cocky, we'll say, I'm doing finger quotations here for the audio listeners. There's one thing I always like remember back to, and it's just so funny because it was just a point in my life where, like I was just like entering, like I had a really rough childhood, got bullied a lot and stuff, and then early on into like my preteens, then into teenage years, my life just flipped for the better. We moved cities. I, got a fresh start. And like from there on out, I had such a positive experience that it kind of like ballooned my head a little bit. I started coming to my own. I grew. I shut up. I was like the fourth tallest kid in my grade 8 class, and then grade 7, and then going into grade 8 is when I shot up. So I was like maybe 5'10", 5'11", maybe, and then I shot up to 6'4". I was probably 5'10" because I feel like there was a girl who was taller than me at the time, and I was like, wow, that's impressive. I'm just saying, I remember. It's one of those things you remember as a kid.
Yeah, and it just stayed with you right until you were, how old when I met you?
24-ish?
Yeah.
It didn't, no. Okay, so that's the thing. So just to put a cap in what I was saying there, there was a point where I would say that if I would concede to being cocky, it was during those teenage years. I remember I was going for my driver's license, my like G1 or something. Because, I had just gotten my G1. That's what it was. Because I was doing my G2 driver's, like, ed, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember after I got my card in the mail, I showed it to my driver, like my driving instructor. And he saw the picture, and I don't remember back then if you were supposed to be able to smile. I don't know if that changed over the years. I feel like, I don't know. Anyway, maybe, people can correct me or not if that was a thing, but I had a smirk in the picture, but it was just like my natural smirk at the time. And my driving instructor saw it, and he was like, wow, you're pretty cocky, eh? And my response, and again, this is probably the cockiest thing I've ever said, was, I mean, yeah, why shouldn't I be? Oh my God.
God.
But he may have said confident, he may have said cocky, I don't know. But that was like the one time in my life that, like, I guess I might have
You're like
tiptoeing a little bit on the lines. No, I wasn't offended. It was just like I was so confident in myself. Things were going so well for me, my personal life, whatever, that I was just like, why wouldn't I be this confident, basically, right? Like, it literally, like, to me at that point in my life, I remember, and this is funny, I know we've talked about this before, but there was genuinely a time in that frame of my life where I remembered going to sleep one night before bed and thinking to myself, I don't understand how people can be unhappy in this world. I know, but it was the truth. I was just so.
And then you met me.
Yeah, no, I was so content with myself, with who I was as a person. Not just about not about looks and all that stuff, but just generally the whole package. Everything was going very well for me. Right, I was still doing well in school. I had a girlfriend. And again, this was such the juxtaposition from early childhood. So it was nothing was going wrong for me, and I haven't thought about that in a long time because since then I've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just funny.
It just caught up.
That memory.
Life just caught up to you.
No, honestly, I've made jokes and I've said this through years of therapy because I've brought that up before to therapists or whatever, and I look back at it and I laugh now and I'm like, higher power or whatever was okay, you've had enough of this, buddy boy. It's let's just take it down a peg or two here and. Boom, mental health, boom, whatever, right, this and that, and it's okay, but...
That's so funny. But it's funny because I've had people, strangers, in your hometown bars, we would go to the bar or whatever, and you would be, playing pool. I remember this girl coming up to me, she's like, wow, he's gotten, so much nicer. He used to be so effing cocky that, people hated him, and I was like... And I was like, yeah, I could see. I was like, don't worry, the girl. I hated him when I first met him.
Perceptions. Look, again, I wasn't.
You were never mean. It's not like I witnessed you being mean
I know,
or
a dick
but that
or
something.
Was the thing. And what I'm going to say here is, and I believe this to be true, that to the people who didn't know me personally, sure, yeah, I could totally see it because I walked around with that air of not that my shit don't stink, but. It just, again, very confident in who I was. So I carried that. And I look back on that fondly because I wish I could just have that again, to be honest with you, And again,
but you were a kid. We didn't have worries. What I mean?
I know. I understand. It's probably not realistic.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not going to say it's not realistic, but it's certainly much harder to have that kind of peace as an adult because life just gets in the way.
I know. Yeah, circling back to when this person said, "Oh, he was so cocky," or whatever. In high school, people thought that I was either intimidating or just a bitch, and but I didn't talk to. I was a theater kid. I lived in the theater. Again, I was a nerd.
Perceptions of you, right? Yeah. There was the you whatever. You've told me this as well. There was, that you were, I'm sorry if I just misheard you say, but they thought that you were promiscuous, right?
Very, yeah.
Right? That kind of got around?
Because of dance and
Now, was it because you were kind of aloof, though, at the same time? You had this mysterious air about you and people...
Maybe, because, I didn't hang out with people. I didn't hang out with people outside of school. I was dancing.
People
I was training.
Took it as, she thinks she's better than everyone.
I am. I'm just kidding. No, but the thing is, I had friends in different, cliques, but, I found solace in the theater. That's where my tribe was. And but maybe because I didn't look like a theater kid. I don't even know what we look like. Normal.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
because we had the goth kids and the gay kids and that's literally all congregated and I guess I was just your basic white girl. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But people didn't know me, and the people who got to know me, obviously we became very good friends. Right. But yeah, anyway, just to say, when we first met, I highly disliked you, and then we were forced, obviously, to work together.
Did I never tell you? I felt the same way about you.
Yeah, it makes sense. No,
that's.
But well, obviously, we were forced to work together or whatever, and then I think what brought us together was, I don't know if I overheard you.
Some of our earlier
conversations,
clicking moments.
Yeah, it was we were talking about American Dad, and I was like, oh. Roger is me, and you were like, oh, I love Roger, he's so funny, and then I don't know, we just started talking, I don't know.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, so he's dumb, but he might not be, he has a bit of taste.
And that's the thing, you're so opposite of me. You're the, opposite of everything. You're a city guy, you like working out.
Yes and no,
you like sports.
So do you now. You're a fit girl now.
I like playing one sport.
You're still addicted to it. It's a gateway.
But I enjoy my friends.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it wouldn't surprise me if something. I mean, let's not forget horse. You used to be addicted to that. Not but it was your thing.
Oh, horseback riding and being at the barn. Yeah.
Roller. You want to get if we had the ability. Speaking of, someone told me I don't know if it was like a pop-up thing or if there's a new like rink somewhere.
You're here?
Yeah, it wasn't far. I'll try and that just came back to me.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about it at work, so I will look into that.
The thing was,
if anybody knows of a good roller like derby
Rink.
style rink in the Niagara region, ish, you know, I
And
think
it's
the
not
closest one we'd
Hag Bull?
heard. I don't believe it's Hag Bull.
where I did my roller
No,
derby.
I know what you
okay.
mean, but no, I don't think it was Hag. And when we looked into this previously, that we found that the closest one was in Mississauga. So if anybody knows of anything closer than that, let us know. We had heard there was something in Hamilton, but that closed down apparently years ago. So
Yeah, I think there's one in the States across the border. Anywho, yeah, we were just opposite, and I just think it's funny because, like, look at us now, 9 years.
opposites
Yeah.
attract. They
Is
do.
that it?
Absolutely.
I don't know. But then it turned from like I hated you to Lord, you annoy me. You get right under my skin.
Yeah, that goes both ways. You definitely. I mean, I will say.
And then
now,
yes, now it's like it's a different type of annoyance. But then I was like, oh my god, could you not work the same shift as me? That would be great. No, we had some good times, and like, you know, I think it was you and Tommy, that dynamic of just like,
he was my best bud.
I know.
Still is, but you know. He was my
oh,
best.
I know, I love
He
you
was
two
my
together.
he was my work wife, right? So
I know, but it was just like always you guys cackling, doing lighting, and I'm like,
he's got a great laugh.
I love Tommy's laugh and Cam's laugh, so good.
They are in the I think the final stages of Rock Search right now.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out, damn it, Goldie.
Yeah.
Check them out.
Anywho, actually, that segues into the next thing. Because
Does it? Are you a big Damn It Goldie fan?
I am, but it reminds me of the one song, like that, like the scene, like seeing kids and stuff. So,
Yep.
actually, I was listening to that song on the radio, or on my phone on the way here.
I was gonna say that's on the radio now.
No,
That'd be awesome.
there was
but
a song I discovered, and like this is kind of what the topic I really wanted to talk about today was.
Before telling everyone how much you hate me.
Yeah, first of all, I still hate you by, was nostalgia, and in this song, basically one of the lyrics is "I'm too young for nostalgia." Like it's a very like sad, depressing song. You know, he's like,
well, in essence, it's a nostalgic song, right?
yeah, because he mentions like
all the things that
well,
he
like the
misses.
lyrics like I sold my childhood Wii, and the double.
You guys had Wii? Do you still have the Wii?
Yes, but like the whole thing is like he sold his Wii.
No, I know. Real quick, let's touch on that because you brought it up, and that makes me. I want to talk about it. What did you guys play for Wii?
Pictionary.
That's it.
And all like the bowling.
That's what Dad played with you, and
It ruined
would mess up
everything.
Was
Yeah.
it on Wii?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like we had that was for PlayStation. We played some games. We weren't like hardcore about it, but anyway.
Yep.
So the song just mentions like he sold his childhood Wii, and he misses watching Dragon Ball Z, and
That's well, I dabble, but
yeah. And then he says
it's not the same.
I'm too young for nostalgia. I'm just trying to get back to 2009, and I'm thinking like back to 2009, like yeah, I was like 1 year into college. Those were like my best years, like 2006 to probably 2012
sure.
ish.
Yeah, because you're kind of like your frontal lobe is developed enough. That
Nah,
you
yeah, then I turned 25
you
and I was
be
like,
mindful of what you're doing, but again, the responsibility of life is just not weighing you down.
oh yeah, as soon as I
It's
turned
just all
25, I was like, oh,
And life sucks.
there's the depression. There it is.
Oh boy.
Oh, I think they're barking at the cat outside.
Maybe.
Are you making biscuits, Darwin?
Look at the size of him. He's definitely making biscuits.
He's just a ball.
He is a biscuit.
Anyway, so we're talking about nostalgia and everything, and then we were discussing how whatever, that was a fun time, but then I was like getting into like the nostalgia of wrestling. Because it's been a hot topic that we've been kind of talking about because we've been watching that show Dark Side of the Ring, and if you haven't watched
brother.
it is such a good series. It's on Crave or HBO. No, it's Crave.
Crave.
And basically, it's literally what it is. It's the Dark Side of the Ring. It is a documentary style
It's a sneak peek behind the scenes of what was really going on with so many of the stories of these
wrestlers.
The wrestler, like yeah, I mean, throughout history, like dating back so far as the 40s, I think, at one
40s,
point, because they would
50s,
reference like older wrestlers' fathers who were wrestling in like black and white pictures and stuff. You know.
So, Dark Side of the Ring. So it's shot in a documentary style. They do interviews with all these wrestlers. Like, it is
wrestling personalities.
Yeah, it's really well done. It is narrated by Chris Jericho. He also is interviewed in it. But they have like Jake the Snake on all the time. They have Mick Foley. Yep. They even had Kevin Von Erich, the last remaining Von Erich.
Yep. Really sad stuff. Crazy story.
But that, like, yeah, as we were watching the series and like all these things have come up, like it's kind of like a sneak peek back into the day, like of like what we used to watch growing up in the 90s, and it's kind of just like, those were the times, and wrestling in those times was just the greatest.
We used to sit down in my basement. I have so many memories of sitting down in my basement, like my brother and I, or my brother, my cousins and I, and my father, just watching Stone Cold and The Rock go at it, you know. Special moments.
And like what's really great about this show is like you learn like the little pockets of things, like who is it, Moolah, what's her,
the fabulous Moolah. So like she was like one of like the first female like headlining wrestlers. She was just as a reminder, she held the women's, so the WWF women's, like I don't think it's heavyweight, it's just like the world title, I guess you would call it,
for 30 years.
30 years.
Can you imagine? Not many women wrestlers were involved. Also, side note, Glow is another show. It's not a documentary. It's on Netflix. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Now, I just rewatched it like as I was recovering from surgery. That is the world I wish I was a part of. Yeah. I still want to be a wrestler.
What character? If you had to pick one character from Glow, like one like wrestling character, who would you have been? Who could you be?
The heel. What's her name?
The Rusky?
Yeah, the Russian. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, being a wrestler, like, I would not want to be like one of like I'm the hero. Like, I wanted to be a heel. Like, Chyna was my girl growing up. Like,
we're gonna have to go back and rewatch Chyna stuff, because I don't remember her. I remember, again, she was polarizing, but I don't remember her being like,
I forget the storylines, but it was like
she was a heel in some of it for sure. I always just remember her being like a bad
people hate it. Like, I always see like what I remember. This is another thing. Maybe I should rewatch it. Maybe it's different than what I remember. But like, I just remember the audience hating her, and I was like,
I always felt like she was like the abrasive, like, you don't mess with me.
Yeah, because she was like, she was a little before like Trish and Stacey and all them.
I believe like they were kind of coming up.
It was like it was like a transition.
Yeah. But she was like pre like femme, like, you know, supermodel wrestlers, right?
Yeah, where it became like you need to be gorgeous.
Well, there was a time in wrestling where it was literally just like, you know, the women were just sex icons, basically. Right?
An era, but the era before that was not.
No. Like for like I would say,
what's her name, Sherry?
40 years up to that point. Yeah, Sherry. I mean, so going into like the 80s and stuff, we find out that's when it kind of started, right? Like Elizabeth, like you know, we talked about it before, like some of her entrances and her looks or whatever, right? Like
Miss Elizabeth was not a wrestler though, was she?
No, she was like just a manager, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
No, there was a transition in wrestling where the women became the managers, like part of like the like your the couples.
Ensemble,
yeah.
Entourage.
Yeah. What was I saying? But yeah, I would definitely be a heel. I want people to yell at me. I want people to hate me, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like the fibers of my being, I'd probably turn out to be a good guy, a baby face or something, but
you would not be
realistically, I agree, it would be amazing if I could pull off being a heel, because it would just be fun to, you know, it's the character, right?
Well, like Triple H.
Yeah, well, so many of them like that stick around.
Yeah.
If you're a good wrestler, you kind of have your ebbs and flows, right? Like I you know, again, so The Rock, for example, right now, he just came back or is currently in the midst of a return. Again, it's sporadic. It's like, you know, a lot of the vet wrestlers, as they kind of age out or whatever. Although not that it seems like he's going anywhere, but he's kind of, I would say, in that stage of his wrestling career, they come and go, right? It's like part-time, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Well, but he came back recently, and in this story arc, they pretty seemingly brilliantly. Like it people loved it. They really took to it. He's the villain. He's the
but like
calls
I
himself
always
the final boss. I don't know if you saw that.
I always seen The Rock not necessarily as the hero. Yes and no. Like
He was an anti-hero.
Remember, it's just a soundbite. Shut up, bitch. Like it's
Yeah.
just like he wasn't necessarily
He was
a
always
heel,
kind of the bad
but
boy,
yeah, like
you know.
he didn't put up with shit. Like that was what he was. Like I don't know. But like going back to this show specifically, like just we're tangent mode right now.
It's fine. That's what this is all about. But you could definitely say that The Rock. I would almost argue that a lot of his career he was kind of the heel because like Stone Cold I would have said was in that whole feud Stone Cold was the guy that people were wanting to cheer for, and then you loved to cheer against The Rock. I mean, there was definitely a lot of people who loved The Rock
because
too.
like I'm just more refreshed with like the older wrestling, like seeing like the black and white story arcs of things early on in wrestling versus like I guess everyone's like their own character, right? It doesn't matter good or bad. Like
yeah, the storylines back in the day, it was definitely more about just heels and you know the crowd, the people that people were cheering for, right? Like it's still the dynamics. It's still in the dynamic today because there's always got to be like someone you're cheering against. But maybe the storylines are less driven by a narrative and revolving around just one person. It's more about like the intertwining of two characters. But like to go back to Glow, your heels, and this was a common theme throughout wrestling history. It's not so much anymore now.
One good, one bad. That's the
good, one bad. But I mean, like you don't have like the Iron Sheiks, right? I'm trying to think of who, or like I said, the Russian, the girl from Glow, right? Like these were the people. Oh, who was the guy that not the Iron Claw? It was the other one. Remember? He was. I want to say, wasn't he one of the territory leaders back in the day?
There was Iron Claw. It was the dad, wasn't it? The Von Erichs?
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. That is
because it started with the dad,
That's
and
right.
then he had the
So
sons.
his heel character was a Russian, like because he was coming up during like the Cold War. And stuff. You're right. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we can't. You don't really. It's probably due to the landscape, honestly. Today, like you're not gonna, we're not gonna have any like stereotypes. Like that's
it
not
went
gonna
from
be just the basis of your
stereotypical,
character.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was definitely stereotype heavy.
With this show, it's really cool to see like even like big stars like Stone Cold. This
Dude
one,
had hair.
This guy had the most gorgeous long blonde hair. Like I'm
He was like
saddened.
a surfer boy.
Yeah, I'm saddened that he lost his hair. But like Stone Cold, where did you go? Like total different character now, but like just luscious locks.
Yep.
Who else was there that had? We just watched an episode. He had really really blonde hair.
That was like a. That's a hard pull. I know exactly who you're talking about because you're like, oh, that was his actual hair, right? Because you saw him as an elder. We just watched
it.
Yeah, wasn't that in the Vince McMahon one? Though?
Maybe it was in the Vince McMahon one.
It was, and he was just like a
also
tertiary.
So they ended this season going into the lore of Vince McMahon, and even though like,
well, it was an episode on Vince, right?
But like how he was like a promoter.
Yeah, they told his whole story.
Yeah, but basically like I think that wrestling, maybe not now. Now I think it's evolving again, but he was what took wrestling out of the territories and put everything mainstream.
He unified it.
Yeah. By buying out cable networks or slots, right? Like for the show itself. Yep. And like he revolutionized the way that wrestling got into people's living rooms.
The way it was delivered.
Yeah, but
because it used to be a lot of it was just like the foot traffic and people going to the events, and that's still a special big thing.
But
but this
became local heroes to like national heroes.
Yeah, it naturally
of the wrestling.
Vaulted it to the mass. Like it grew the sport. Right?
Yeah, So like even though like Vince, you're a dick and you deserve
Allegedly.
all the terrible things happening to you. I mean, he's like worth like $2.5 billion.
Yeah,
but
I think he's gonna be okay.
Yeah, Triple H just like got right in there marrying Steph.
Wow, I mean they've been married for a long time.
I know. I'm just saying. He's like, I see that bank account. I'm just kidding.
This guy's gonna go down at some point.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there.
But yeah, so that was like the last thing. But I forget what wrestler. He had beautiful hair too. But it's so interesting to see like
We can shout him out the next pod. I know you wanted to do a little more, but we'll shout him out the next one.
But yeah, so this show kind of, I don't know, it's nice to get the little information of pockets that you didn't get as a kid, right? Like, and it was really well done, and it's such an unfortunate, like, thing, because every episode it's either they OD'd or died in some accident, or,
It was,
like...
over like, there is just a dark history, a dark side of the ring, and, it seems like for every 10 success stories, whether that's just via their wrestling careers or post that even going on to have like healthy lives, there's like 100 more who ended up, in a far worse situation one way or another.
Do you see Darwin? Sorry.
I mean, I can see him on my lap. I can't see.
Anyway, but watching these episodes, I'm like, for sure, I would have been that wrestler to go hard. I would have been dead, like, for sure.
27 Club.
Yeah, like,
If that.
I would have gone hard. And, like, mind you, most of them are on the pain meds for, gosh.
I'm sure today, because, again, just to pull another stat that they talked about, like, with all the bumps and the falls, they equated, essentially the physical toll to being on a small car crash, like, weekly. Now, based on how things are run today, like, I'm sure that their schedules and everything are a little healthier in that regard.
Like, see, the schedules back then was they would
6-7 days a week.
They would never have days off, right? Like, it was wrestling every night, getting hit by a car every night, like, and it's not even like, I couldn't imagine what those other guys went through. What territory? What thing was that?
Hardcore wrestling.
Yeah, the hardcore wrestling. Could you imagine doing that every night?
There's a few different factions of it. Like, ECW was like one of the more mainstream ones.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Extreme Championship Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's crazy. But like, I couldn't imagine doing that every night. And like, I do have empathy for why these people are on pain meds, and then you get addicted, or like, you have accidents.
You just came off of your surgery. You can understand, right? You're not in the beginning. You're not even using it. Like, it's not a recreational thing. It is literally a necessity.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, your body's like, no, now it's a necessity.
Well, and they have downers, and then you're like, well, that's for the pain, but I'm too tired, and I need uppers.
And I want to party.
And I need steroids, and blah, 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 blah. I would be right up in there. I know that's sad, and I am sober now, but I'm just saying, like,
How could you not? Everybody. And this is another thing, if you watch the series, you'll see, like, back in the 80s, 90s, it's a little harder to get away with today, I'm sure, but it was just everybody.
I think a lot more people are educated.
You wrestled and you partied.
I think it's definitely still in wrestling today, but I'm saying there's a lot more education in certain things, and like, I don't know, maybe my character would have been like the Sandman.
Interesting choice.
Just coming in, like, chugging beers and smoking a cigarette, ready to fight.
Wait 20 minutes.
Yeah, of course. I'm a diva.
Fair, you do make me wait 20 minutes for you every time we go out.
Me? You're the one. Me? I'm always waiting for you. Your time management is so bad, Cody.
Nope.
Oh.
I'm going to start vlogging just so people can see what I'm doing.
No, I'm going to start vlogging.
You always say I'm the one, and then I end up waiting for you by the door. I'm like,
remember when we used to work together, and like, I'd be running around, like...
we used to work together?
Yes, for many years. And we'd be ready to leave the house. I'm like, where are my keys? Where's my bag? Where's my tools? Blah, blah, blah. And you're like...
I don't know. I don't know where you put these things.
I don't know. But
yeah,
anyway,
I'm the problem.
back into wrestling. I'm not getting into how you're always late, making us late.
Yep.
I would be Sandman. So if you're not familiar with Sandman,
He was a hardcore wrestler.
The story arc of everything that went on with Sandman is crazy with his family.
Yeah.
But like, he would come in chugging like 6 beers coming from the audience. He started out wrestling like a normal wrestler, but
he had characters in the beginning, but it didn't really go anywhere.
He created the Sandman, and he wore jeans.
How it happened, the one day he forgot his boots.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you recall. And I think it was Paul Heyman who happened to be managing the branch of wrestling that he was with. I think it was a territory at the time. Maybe not. But anyways, Paul Heyman was managing, and then Sandman was like, oh, Paul, I forgot my boots. And Paul's like, I don't give an F.
Don't make me added this.
I'm not, yeah. It's like, just go out there, whatever. As long as you're wrestling, I don't care. And then at that point, Sandman was like, I'm never wearing any of my stuff again. I'm just gonna wear whatever I want.
Imagine a manager that just didn't care, and that kind of created this like his little niche of a character. That's why it exploded. I swear they were in Alabama. They was somewhere in the South. I'm telling you.
We gotta look that up because I swear
Anyway,
I very much remember something about Philadelphia. Go ahead, look it up.
Sandman.
Cometh.
Where did the Sandman wrestle? Anyway, so he would show up to the ring. It was Philadelphia.
I'm the greatest.
Son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he connected.
I thought it was in Alabama.
Well, you know. I'm probably the one who's always making us late, though. You're right.
I thought it was Georgia.
It's still Philly.
Is that where it is?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, you still. I was like, Georgia, what?
Georgia, Philadelphia.
Oh, you know where that is. Anyway, so he would be like chugging beers. He would be coming from the audience. He wouldn't even do his entrance. Also, he was one of the
smoking darts.
Yeah, like he would be smoking, chugging beers. Also, he was one of the first people to have entrance music.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Are you sure on that?
I swear.
You're gonna have to
watch the episode again.
I know one of them. That was the case, but I don't think it was him.
What should I say? Who?
No, you know what? I think it was the guy. We'll have to come back to that, but I think it was not him. I actually think I know who it was. I don't remember his name, but I do remember his story. He was like bisexual. He, again,
it is.
prostituted himself.
It is Gorgeous George. Came to the ring, yeah, in 1950s.
Okay, that's not even who I'm talking about. There was somebody else.
Wasn't it Gorgeous?
No, because they played. Welcome to My Nightmare was like his intro song. Guy had mental health issues. He was
Michael Hayes.
Was another like extreme wrestler.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. I swear, but it might have been for his territory. Because I was like, that's even more badass.
Yeah.
Maybe a few people. Maybe he really started like the trend.
Well, I mean, because did he come in to enter Sandman? Like he must have, right?
No, I don't know. Whatever. Regardless, he came in, chugging beers, smoking darts, and jeans and a t-shirt. No cares in the world. That was him.
Kendo stick in his hand.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so then his wife was involved. She was his manager.
He gets a girlfriend, becomes his wife.
Yeah, they have a kid. And then, of course, this is where the era where, like, the storylines were getting crazy. Mm. And, like, obviously it's entertaining. And he was always producing and writing and trying to get, like, he wanted shock factor in his, like, arcs, which was great. I live for that.
Sure.
I live for it now with YouTube and the drama. I love it. But it's manufactured with wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. And so basically, there was a storyline where him and his wife were starting to divorce, and he had a like 6-year-old child, and like his nemesis in the ring was Raven.
Correct.
And the story arc was that she was with Raven now, and they entered the ring, her and Raven, and the kid, who's got like this leather jacket on, goes from like this like other redneck to a different type of redneck. And they put the kid on live TV with the microphone. They told him some things to say. Mm-hmm. And the kid
killed it. You did great.
Oh.
Never broke character.
No, but that's still sad. Like, I was like, that is a 6-year-old, and he is just sitting there on a microphone in front of thousands of people going, what did he say? He was like, you're a deadbeat, blah, blah, blah.
Raven's my dad now.
Yeah, Raven's my dad now. And I'm like, oh.
And like, all the people were like...
I forget his wife's name, and she was like, she was like, and that's when I realized maybe we took it too far, because like the audience was like, they gasped, mm-hmm. You know, and
it hit home like they wanted to, but then it was like, maybe it was a little too real.
Yeah, and like Raven like drags her out backstage, like, you know, so dramatic in like domestic violence way, which is terrible, but knowing that it's like all an act, it's, you know, it's fun to act.
It's nice to know it was an act.
Yeah, it's nice to know. But she was saying how, like, they would have to leave the ring. Like, they would have to leave the arenas in separate cars. So she would have to go with Raven, take the kid. And then they would...
keep the kayfabe up.
Yeah, and because they would have fans that would follow them and, like, this whole thing. And then they would meet up, like, at, like, 3 a.m. to exchange families, essentially.
Well, they just had to get far enough out of the way that they
so that they can go home.
So they weren't going to be seen. Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine how exhausting that is? 365 days a year? because that's how many times they wrestled.
Yeah, it'd be very tiring.
And then, like, you know, they really wanted to film the one night promos were so big, right? Like, it was raining the one night, and like they woke the kid up at like 3 a.m. to go film this promo in like a cemetery in the pouring rain.
It was just a park.
Oh, was it? I thought it was a cemetery. It was
Just
a park. I was just like, Lord, oh my God, you couldn't get away with this stuff today.
No.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, Cody and I kind of want to like rewatch wrestling, maybe like film our reactions, because I don't think we can actually stream that, but or like watch it and then like discuss it. But like, we'll start with like maybe WrestleMania.
Well, no, just going real quick, just to interject, based on what we've learned, from fair use and all that, I believe we can have stuff up on screen so long as we are commenting, speaking on it, because you are adding to the content, right? You can't just post it like that. I believe is like the whole.
Maybe I'll do more research into it. If not, like, we want to rewatch some of the big fights or some of the storylines of like the greats, essentially.
And it would be fun and easy. I'm like, and just, you know, if you're concerned about like copyright issues or whatever it is, like, you know, you can easily pause it, right, to have part of your reaction. Like, I think that can happen naturally.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be an issue.
I'll have to like go on Reddit and see like there's different pockets of fights you want to see, and like we'll start there, like start from a year, maybe start with like all the WrestleManias,
right,
like the main match fights or whatever.
And like maybe so we could do WrestleMania by WrestleMania, and if there's any interesting storylines that they're talking about in each of the WrestleManias, we can go back.
I just love how there's just like endless wrestling. I live for it.
What, there's over 40 years of WWE to get into.
Stay with us as we go through 40 years for the next 40 years.
That's right.
But yeah, we were, or I was remembering like as a kid, like how influential wrestling was, and how obviously like we were like wrestling at school.
You were wrestling.
Well, we would call each other. Are you watching?
Are
you watching? And like our one friend, actually, his dad, they were really rich. They owned the mansion around the corner from us.
The one that we always walk by?
The one I want to buy, yeah.
Sure.
So he grew up there,
with the big gates.
Mm-hmm. And he got tickets to WrestleMania the one year, and and he was on our bus, and we were like, "Oh my God, you have to tell us everything!" And it was just like, you know, and we would watch it on TV, and we're like, "Oh my God, I forget his name. Tyler's there," and it was like this, I don't know, really fun piece of my childhood.
Sure.
As far as nostalgia goes, and that's like one thing I still would love to do. Maybe if I get famous on YouTube, I can do what Logan Paul did.
Why not?
I can become a wrestler.
Why not? I think the reality of the landscape of that today is that there's far more of an
there's
option.
So many.
If you have enough clout, it's just a business partnership is what it was, right? Yeah. And now, granted, I will give him
He's a good wrestler.
Due.
He is.
Yeah, I think,
he's
like,
very
love
fit.
him or hate him, he seems to do a good job. I haven't watched enough of his matches, but I've seen some really cool things, like when he posted earlier with, like earlier on when he was just starting out, and he did that, like, I know it's kind of silly or stupid, but it's modern, but he did like the live selfie as he was doing like a...
It was a backflip off the corner.
Right, right. That's just cool. That's a cool idea, right? That's very original.
Saying, it's evolving from, like, this is the next gen, right?
Yeah, but now, again, major point here. Keep on this path, get famous, and Lady Lili.
Lady Lili.
Is that really going to be your name?
Is that a heel name? Not really.
I mean, what would it any name can be a heel name. The Rock doesn't sound like a heel name.
Lazaretto.
Lazarette. That's pretty good. Yeah. So you're going to lean into the Italian then?
No.
You can't not then.
I don't want to.
You have to if your name's Lazarette.
I'm just kidding. I would never.
Why not? That'd be fun. You're spicy.
Yeah, but that's different in the realm of women.
You could do like an homage. I mean, I know that he's not Italian, but you could do like an homage to like Eddie Guerrero, like one of your favorite all-time wrestlers.
Oh,
you go in.
I come in a lowrider.
That's what I'm saying.
I know exactly what song I would come in on.
So if you could come in as Lazarette and have that like intensity, that like. But
Latina, like it would be like chili. Like I would have to. I don't know. I would have to really do it.
That could just be your name.
But this is the thing. So Eddie Guerrero, rest his soul, they got to do an episode on him one time. They have to. We were so devastated with the news of Eddie Guerrero dying in school.
I mean, I wasn't, but
we were having a little, silent moment for him, and the teacher was like, "What the heck is going on?" We were all circling around the desk, like, we're like, Eddie Guerrero died today. he had a heart attack or whatever. Like, whatever the news, like, because, you know, we don't have, like, real news. You have to hear it 10 times through someone else. Anyway, yeah, I would totally come in on a lowrider, and I would put, like, a fake face tattoo, but I'm not...
Face tattoo?
Because I want to come in on that...
Did Eddie have a face tattoo?
No. I would do...
So.
Because... No, are you listening?
I am.
Because I'm on Cholo TikTok. Chola TikTok, and there's this woman.
You've shown me.
I forget her name, but there's the one song.
West Coast beats are perfect for that stuff.
I know. It's called.
Pick any West Coast like rapper that's in today, and like you'll find a song that you could get into.
There's one specific song. I want to say it's like Flatback or something. It's always the song they dance to on TikTok. Mm-hmm. It is so.
It's a vibe.
It is a vibe. I would definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Like Lazarette to me just sounds like a spicy, like a lot of attitude. You know, just a fun character for you to be, and you could start off
backstroking, fat backstroking.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Looking
for the good stuff.
Like I would be like.
I'm just saying you could easily be either way. You could be a baby face or you could be a heel. No problem. You know what I mean? Like it could flip on a dime, and you know I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of potential there.
It would be great to have like a story arc where I turn bad, but yeah, I'm just like, poor Eddie.
What kind of outfit would you want to wear? Just curious.
I don't know. I don't know.
Halfway modest, because now there's like.
No, I'm too old. I'm gonna show it all.
Well, this is the thing, you kind of can't nowadays. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you've seen modern wrestling, modern wrestling females, but it's more like they wear just like athletic unitards and stuff versus like, your short shorts in the unitards or whatever.
No, there's still one goth girl I really like.
But I'm just saying you don't see like thong unitards.
No, they wouldn't. I don't think they would because
or even
it's like
cheeky. Really, it's like full bum kind of.
Yeah, I would do a full on like cat suit.
Sure. I think I'm just saying that's as spicy as you can get, but
I can't wear gold jewelry. I'm wrestling.
You can wear your gold jewelry on your way in. Are you kidding me?
Oh, true. Yeah.
And then you take off the chains, hand it to me, your manager.
You're my Miss Elizabeth.
It's Mr. Elizabeth to you.
El
Blanco.
I would just have like a cape. Like I would make it so dramatic. Like, I'm a theater kid.
10-gallon hat. Cigar. Well, hold on now.
I'm just kidding.
When I think tycoon or like Latino tycoon, I don't think of a sombrero.
I know. I just show up in a mariachi suit. I'm ready to wrestle. No, I think that the lowrider. Yeah, I would flip the script and have like a male posse. Like, I want to be.
I don't think it's probably been done.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying like, but Eddie Guerrero always had the best entrances. Like, I don't know. Just.
R.I.P.
It was so fun. Mm-hmm. But the era, 90s into like early 2000s, and then it kind of got like, I don't know, I feel like it got messy and just like at some point. Just like it was like redundant storylines or the same wrestlers. Like who was really big after 2005, 2006? Like,
well, that's when like Cena came in, right?
Yeah, I didn't like Cena. I liked him.
About to get a lot of haters, I think, because he was like the next transcendent star.
I do take my shirts off like him though.
Oh yeah.
Just the one. I always pretend I'm John Cena when I do that.
I've never seen you take off a shirt like that.
My gray one. I'm just like exactly like John Cena does.
I'm sure you do. I just have to pay more attention next time.
I will always be a wrestler. But yeah, I don't. Okay, as much as I want to, and we will do training. That's like all I want for my birthday, and your birthday. We'll go to a wrestling school. I just know that my body will just snap in half the moment I get like pummeled to the ground.
You do have a spinal injury.
Yeah.
History.
Yeah.
So.
But then I'll just, you know what? I'll do it like everyone else, and I'll go down the road of pain meds and die at 27.
Be a true wrestler. Right. 27. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I told you when I die, they're gonna be like this poor 20-year-old. That's my goal in life. yeah, like I think that we should watch some of like we should really delve into that. And I'm sorry, like I didn't like nostalgia and it just went right into wrestling. It's just my life.
That's a lot of happy memories with that, you know.
Yeah, but looking back at the storylines, it was such a toxic, terrible thing.
Well, it was kind of like the era of toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a man, it was the best. You know, and especially like as you became like a young man and all that, like as a child, you're like, okay, whatever, it's just fun.
But
as you become a young man,
yeah.
I came up in the right time to be a fan of wrestling as I hit puberty. I'll tell you what.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like Moolah, like she kind of capitalized on, if you want to be a female wrestler, you come train with me. But she was like almost like a, what's the mothers of prostitute homes? What are they called?
Isn't it mother?
Maybe. Like a
house mother,
yeah.
Whatever.
She basically would be like, "You're wrestling this person. You're like she
set up everything. She
organized everything. She took
kickbacks.
Yeah, she took like a percentage of these girls'
things. If you wanted to be a
things.
Female professional wrestler,
you went
had
to
to
her.
go to her school.
Yeah.
You had to be trained by her, and then basically she was your manager.
Yeah.
And this is a main reason, or a big part of the reason, I should say, rather, why she was the champion for 30 years. People, no offense, people didn't care as much back then about the women's stuff.
Yeah.
So she kind of just ran the show.
But that's why Sherry broke that
mold.
Because she went to go train.
She said, "Screw you, Moolah."
Yeah. What was her title? Sherry. What was the
Sensational?
So Sensational Sherry, which another one lost to addiction.
Yeah.
She went
a trailblazer.
Yeah, she went to Moolah and like was taking money and blah blah blah. And listen, like Sherry wanted to wrestle so bad, had a child, like left the child behind after 6 months of age. Like she knew what she wanted in life, and she went and got it. And I bow to her. I have no judgment.
Getting everything you want in life. What are you complaining about?
I'm just saying.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Like that for back in the 70s to leave your child at 6 months old to go become a wrestler.
Yeah.
Like you have a passion and a dream. Like I admire people who do that.
Yeah,
sorry, not that specific scenario, but like someone who like goes for it, no excuses. Like I want this.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and
would not take no. It was gonna be her life.
Yeah, so she went to Moolah because that was what people. No, she tried to train with Jake the Snake's dad. Remember, and he turned her down and turned her down.
Well,
and
she
turned her
said,
down.
"I want to get into wrestling."
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay." And
he, when you're 19.
Smacked her in the face.
No. When you're 19.
Oh,
came back
sure.
when you're 19.
Right,
well, you can't handle it. She went left, came back, and then hit her in the face again.
Just to kind of test her, because that's how it was in the territories.
And she was like, "Yeah, I can handle you.
You hit like a girl."
Yeah. She was like besties with Jake the Snake. I think they ended up dating on and off. Like life is life. And she went to Moolah to train. No, she went to Moolah first after he denied her at night until she turned 19. She went to Moolah, and then she literally left Moolah, and she was like, "F you, I can do this on my own without you." Mm-hmm. And then she got Jake's dad to like train her, and she was like one of the guys. Everyone in their interviews were like, she was like one of the guys. Like, you know,
it was not easy back then.
Huge heart, but she could roll with us.
She was a BAMF, bad arse mother flipper.
Oh. Cute.
You never heard that?
No.
It's from a movie.
Do you remember what movie?
I remember it being, I want to say, I'll have to come back to it.
Okay. Anyway, and she became like one of the best women wrestlers of her time, and I love that. I love that storyline. And of course, she had addiction problems and eventually passed away. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, you're trying to look up the movie?
Yeah.
This is why we need a third party during our podcast to do the research for us. Anywho, what would your wrestling name be?
Shoot.
Idiot. Amazing idiot.
I don't know, because it would probably have to be... It would probably be like a character name, I would think. Because I don't know. Like, I don't think my name is... Like, there's already a Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, well, he's... Yeah.
Right? Gold Dust's son. But so many of them don't use their real names, so, like... I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Actually, Captain Canada, maybe. I might start off as that.
Okay.
What?
It just reminds me of like the Hulk's comeback as Mr. America. It's so LeMay.
It's not LeMay. It was a nickname given to me because I'm the Canadian Captain America, and I would see if I could make that work. Hey.
Eh?
Hey.
Oh gosh.
No, but yeah, I don't know. That's the first name I could think of, but
I know, but when I think of wrestling, it's not. Maybe
Give me
I
a
guess.
name. Give me a name.
I guess if you made it more like badass, I don't know, even like Captain America. If you think it's like a badass theme, because like when you think of Canada, you think of like, oh, sorry,
Right.
we got Moose up here
Yeah, it would be tough to get that character over.
because of stereotype.
Probably.
That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can make like Canada sexy,
Well.
eh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd love to do that for Canada. You know, represent my country, and if I could bring sexy back to Canada, I would be happy to do so on the grand stage.
You should be like, what are those people that drop the guillotine?
The executioner.
Yeah, something like I just think that like you're just like very tall and
Lurch.
yeah, you could be that's your character with me. Like you have like no identity, but you're scary. It's kind of like who was it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people over the history that have done things like
Kane.
that.
Did Kane wear a mask for the longest time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kane had the mask for forever.
Yeah, but then there was an era where he took it off and then he
I
fought.
think it got like ripped off or whatever.
Yeah, and
right?
then like I think he just didn't want to wear the mask anymore.
Yeah, maybe.
Did someone just jump from the ceiling?
No, it's usually Darwin.
If you're hearing noises, I'm sorry. Our windows are open down here because that was
hot.
that's what sparked the I hate you. Or when I
What?
first met you, I hated you because I was washing your freaking hockey equipment
Oh yeah.
and I was gagging on like the stench, and I was like, oh, you know, if I just kept that hate when I first met you,
You
I wouldn't be
doing this.
here. I would have been like Sherry, living my dreams.
Probably would have been a wrestler. If we hadn't met, you'd probably be wrestling professionally right now.
No, I'm just kidding. If anything, I'm closer to wrestling now than I would have been then.
Yeah, I guess. Except you're old now.
Okay, I can play an elderly badass, or I'll just be a manager because I think that's just easier on the back.
You're still young enough. I think Logan's got to be close to 30, right?
He's fit and without any back injuries, so
Yeah, I understand.
well, I guess I can get there. Okay, pump me with the roids. Let's go.
I'm just saying, like and subscribe if you want to see her as Lazarette.
I don't know if I'm gonna go with
The
that name. I like
spicy-
Lady Lili.
What?
I can still be in a
Think of
lowrider.
all the fun we just came up with. It is such a character. Are you kidding me?
I can still do all that.
Chains, a lowrider. Lady Lili is not going to come in with that attitude. That is Lazarette. Literally, you're spicy. Like, it all just fits perfectly. I love this character we came up for you.
Okay, well, stay
Tight
tuned.
little, Italian flag.
No, we're not.
uniform.
No, because then that's like the Italian. What was the tag team trio?
Weren't the Guerreros all part of that?
No, the Italian tag team. What was their names? MIA? No. They were the three Italians. Dad loved them. I forget the name.
Dad loves them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they like mainstream or were they like just.
Yeah, they were in WWE. They were part of the tag team matches. I forget.
I know that there's been like that before, but I can't remember.
I don't want to follow my Italian heritage.
Okay, well then be Portuguese.
No.
That is literally what a Lazarette is, right?
No. Lazzaretto
What is a
is an
Portuguese?
actual... we plant Portuguese hot peppers. But the Lazzaretto
The proper
from the
Lazarette
Abruzzi
is
province
Italian,
is
okay.
what he couldn't find
What are
here.
your references?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they look the same.
Sure.
But, anywho. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I could talk about wrestling for, like, the rest of my life. But, yeah.
Okay. Real quick. If you had to, right now, pick one finishing move for Lazarette,
I don't know.
you can't...
It would be a jump off a high
Yeah,
rope.
you're a high flyer?
Absolutely.
I see you as more of like a submission person.
Like, what do you mean? Like jumping in? Well, can I jump into a submission move? There was one.
How in the heck are you going to... Well, unless they're standing up, how are you going to do
Yeah.
that?
Well, I always assumed they would be standing up and knocking them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like
crotch first.
Right.
No, there was like one move. Yeah, it was just in Glow too. They were learning it. I don't know. I want it to be a high flyer. I think that would be so fun.
It would be, and that's
so
another
dramatic.
thing. That is a lot of what New Age wrestling is all about. Because now it's not the big.
We've seen it all, right?
muscle bound dudes. It's more about like how athletic, these people are, right? Like again, that going back to Logan, dude he's very athletic,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like watching his wrestling, he's got it. You can't deny that.
Yep.
Like he's put in his work.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I would want to do something dramatic.
So it would be a high flying move then.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I have to go with the spear. It is to me one of the most iconic. Like that like thinking about a good spear just gets me so fired up. Like Goldberg when he went on his tirade. The Rock obviously, right? Well, no, he didn't spear. What am I talking about? He would do like the.
Who, Goldberg?
No, Goldberg did the spear,
The Rock,
of course.
yeah.
But now, the new Hawaiian Roman Reigns. That's one of his finishers is the spear. But again, just whatever. Yeah, the Rock did people's elbow and rock bottom. But those
I think but yeah. To me, I always like the high flyers. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I just I
God.
think you can just sell a spear so good too. That's why it's such like it just seems like so real, and like just thinking about getting that impact.
Okay, my heart would want that, but like I don't know if I would be able to do that.
A spear?
No, the high flying.
Oh, that's why I said no offense. I'm like I would see more as a submission specialist.
Yeah.
A real Christina Benoit, if you will.
Oh man, now I just want to wrestle. If you own a wrestling school, call me. Anyway, thank you for listening to us rant about wrestling, and I'm pretty sure one of our episodes in the near future will be wrestling. Do yourself a favor, go watch Dark Side of the Ring. Start with season 1. Each episode is produced beautifully. You'll learn a lot. You get to see people with long hair and amazing bodies, like the Von Erichs.
You had no idea.
The Von Erichs were like
these guys were built like modern day bodybuilders before that was a thing.
Yeah, and like just sad story. Also, if you're gonna watch the Iron Claw and you kind of want a history before watching it, or vice versa.
Well, we really need to see the movie before we say. The Iron Claw could touch on it.
No, it's based on that. But I'm just saying, if you want to be educated going into the movie, maybe watch the episode of the Von Erichs, or vice versa. Like now, we're gonna go watch
Iron Claw.
Yeah, or if you've seen Iron Claw, if you want to see the documentary, yeah. Anyway, just as we were saying goodbye, our battery died. So, anyway, thank you. Subscribe if you like cooking. Look down below or up or whatever on my channel. You'll see one of my cooking episodes. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm really close to my next goal. I need 2 more subscribers to hit 150
million.
Imagine. I would definitely be a wrestler. Anyway, the whole frame and everything's mixed up. Anyway, totally reset. Anyway, thank you for listening to more content, and I can't wait to talk more.
Bring you more
content. Eh?
Good night.
All right. See ya. Chividyam.
Buonanotte.